Hey, welcome back. Chip here, back with Towers Take live on Facebook. Good to see you. Hope everybody's well out there. We'll have another bit of an abbreviated edition today. Now that we're in late January and obviously the Super Bowl right around the corner. A little bit quiet here on the Georgia front at the moment. Now we got National Signing Day coming up on Wednesday, which is it's not gonna be a lot of new talent for Georgia any way you slice it up, but there should definitely be some interesting storylines as far as who Georgia might end up with in the second National Signing Day, the little National Signing Day as it is now. As always, Towers Take Live is an interactive medium, so I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you want to know. I'm happy to answer your questions. Hello, Ron Willard. Woof to you as well. Ray Gardner is in the house. So is David Scoggins, who says, "Go Dogs." Got some video there of Kirby Smart talking. Boy, there has been a lot of very, very positive attention on the Georgia Bulldogs this week in Atlanta with the Super Bowl being in town. Obviously, Kirby Smart has a very good relationship with Bill Belichick. And it was actually surprised to hear Bill Belichick speak so glowingly of Kirby, not because he doesn't feel that way, but a lot of times when Coach Belichick is getting ready for a big game, he's really not in the mood to throw a bunch of bouquets around, and he has to be careful about showing partiality and all that kind of stuff. But he said, in no uncertain terms, that he really liked the way Kirby ran his program and felt like they do a good job of developing players for the NFL, and that certainly is evidenced by 4 players going to appear in the Super Bowl on Saturday, on Sunday, two either side for the Patriots and for the Los Angeles Rams. Actually, 3 aside when you count Isaiah Wynn, who remains on IR after that unfortunate Achilles tendon injury suffered in preseason camp. Todd Gurley doing a great job for Georgia. It's interesting seeing a whole lot less of Sony Michel. Maybe I'm missing it, but I've seen a lot more of Todd Gurley in the lead up to this game. So maybe he's laying a little bit lower. But Todd Gurley giving a great account of himself, number one. He's come a long way, I got to be honest, from the time that we were interviewing him in Butts-Mehre Heritage Hall after practices each day. He was always a bit of a reluctant interviewee, and he seems to. I don't know that he's ever really embraces being interviewed, but he's a good interview nowadays. Really knows how to handle some of those clowns like Barstool Sports. Obviously, David Andrews, just a huge proponent of University of Georgia, as well as Todd, and then Sony Michel carrying the torch for the Patriots running backs. So that's going to be interesting to see. Let me see your comments. Do you guys? So, are you rooting for one team or another based on their Georgia presence? Are you rooting for the Patriots because they have both David Andrews and Sony Michel, or are you rooting for the Rams because they have Todd Gurley and Ramik Wilson as the linebacker? It certainly has piqued my interest in the game. Now, I'm like everybody else. I always watch the Super Bowl, but I'll be much more of an engaged viewer, I think, based on this. I'm really eager to see how they come out. Thank you, Gregory Phillips says, thank you, Chip, for all you do. I appreciate it. this is a little bit of a quiet time on the Georgia front. Of course, you say that, and then all heck will break loose. But at least we don't have anything going on here like they have going on in Missouri today. I don't know if you guys have seen the news, but NCAA sanctions come down for the Missouri Tigers over some academic indiscretions that were taking place up there, and the Tigers are going to have a bowl ban in 2019, and I'm sure, excuse me, Kelly Bryant probably didn't see that coming. I assume that his transfer, his papers, and everything are all done, but he's not going to be able to play in the bowl game for them. So that's going to be interesting. I think his primary interest in transferring there is just getting playing time to show the pros, so he wouldn't be sitting behind Trevor Lawrence. But yeah, Mark Godfrey says here, I bet Kelly wishes he would have gone somewhere else, and I guess they probably would. Yeah, Matt Talley, kind of mean here, says so they won't be able to go to the Meineke Car Care Bowl when they qualify. Be careful. Missouri was coming along this year. That's a tough blow for that program, and they've been very good over the years. Georgia fans can't forget how they unseated Georgia from being able to go to Atlanta for the SEC championship game a couple of years in a row there under Gary Pinkel. So that's tough. Sam, I wish I could tell you more about Georgia's recruitment. I mean, how it's going. It's going. I have no idea. Jeff will update everybody, I'm sure, again tomorrow when he talks to Brandon Adams on the actual comings and goings. I mean, I just know, that Georgia has these couple of targets circled for the signing period, and so do a lot of other people. So it's going to come right down to it. Kirby's been fluttering around a good bit in the rented helicopter. Yeah, it's interesting. I saw a lot of stuff. Sometimes he's in the yellow helicopter. Lately, he's been in that black helicopter, which people seem to like a lot better. Georgia itself does not own a helicopter. Very few of these programs, if any, do. Maybe somebody can correct me, but I don't think most of these programs own. Some of them own their own jet. The University of Georgia has a plane, a twin prop, and sometimes they catch heck for not having their own private jet. But they can get it and get anywhere they need to. Hello, Shane Guy. Jimmy Durham, how many can we sign? That's always the top secret. On the surface, 3, because you got 22 in the early period, but it all has to do with the total 85 number. That's the one that really matters. And, there's a lot of ingress and egress, and we don't know who's staying and who's going at this time. But I would suspect you'd see Georgia sign 3 on National Signing Day, and that's just my best guess. Anybody's heard anything different, let me know. Matt Talley says Kelly Bryant should go to Georgia Tech. They need a quarterback. Probably won't win much, but who knows? I'll be eager to find out whether, so apparently based on a new NCAA bylaw, players from Missouri, that had or will be affected by this bowl ban, have the opportunity to transfer anywhere they want. I guess I need to get busy looking at the transfer portal. The problem for Georgia is they are so tight on scholarships, as Kirby keeps it. I mean, he doesn't let any scholarships go to waste. And Greg Phillips says sure would like to flip Pickens, and I know Georgia's working on that. It's always curious to me, the whole wide receiver thing. I mean, Georgia's wide receivers are fine. They never seem to land any of these elite guys anymore, the 5-star guys. Jaden Hazelwood, the latest one, that's all respect to Dominic Blaylock. I think he's going to be a really good one, and I'm eager to see. But I think Georgia's wide receiver core, if they don't sign anybody else, will be okay. I mean, there's also the there's also the transfer from Miami that Georgia could land. 6'5" guy that gives you somebody with experience right away. Um, there's a lot, a lot. Matt Talley says the helicopter's getting played out. Kirby should roll up in high schools in an old Cutlass on 24s. Yeah, you remember that years ago? Was it Gene Chiswick who had the stretch limo, the Hummer limo, or whatever show? I thought that was over the top. I didn't like that at all. Um, but John William Adams says slim pickings on the remaining spots. That is so true. Eddie Yarborough brings up a good subject. Have we got a DC yet? As I've been pretty open about, I think you have a DC. I just think it hadn't been announced yet. And what we don't know is if he'll be sharing any part of his title with anyone. Part of me wonders at this point, since Kirby hasn't made an announcement, I feel pretty confident that he's not going to make an announcement until after National Signing Day. His reasons for that aren't 100% clear to me. There could be several. One could be that he just wants to wait and make the announcement all at once of all the positions. There's probably some support personnel and others that are happening. Two, they might not be through with staff change. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Sam Pittman's okay. Dell McGee's okay. I think Cortez Hankton's okay. Trey Scott seems to be in good stead. I don't know if there's any plans there. Certainly, Dan Lanning, I think, is going to end up being part of the defensive coordinator equation. I think Georgia and Kirby Smart are happy with Schumann. And obviously, they've hired Charlton Warren, who may or may not get part of that title. I've heard rumblings about Scott Fountain, and all due respect, Coach Fountain and wife and people who care about him. I don't know if there's anything to that or not. I think Georgia had some major breakdowns on special teams this past season. I don't know if he should be held accountable for that, but Georgia does have a full-time special teams coordinator in Scott Fountain. So whether he's part of that whole equation, I don't know. But there's got to be a reason that Kirby's holding off. And I don't have any reason to think that he's going to do anything before National Signing Day. We'll see. I'm sure you'll see Kirby and a lot of Georgia presence at the Super Bowl this week. We've already seen it in the lead-in. But I'm sure anybody who's anybody that's had anything to do with Georgia is going to be involved in watching and being around those proceedings. Nick Chubb, by the way, has had a major presence in the Super Bowl lead-up, which is good to see. He's technically still a contender for Rookie of the Year, along with Sony Michel, I would imagine, and a few others. But Nick has been doing a lot of interviews. I have not myself. Now, BA and Connor Riley have been down there in the middle of it. I have not been in the middle of all the Super Bowl scrum. I'm not sad about that because that is a mess. But it is fun and exciting when you have and there's unbelievable access to players and just a lot going on in downtown Atlanta this week, and that's going to be fun to see. Give me your questions. We're going to have to wrap it up here. Connor, our producer, has to get out of here. Him and BA are heading out today, so let me know if you've got any questions for me. We're going to give it about 5 more minutes here. John William Adams says Smart needs to add a helipad to his house to transport himself and his recruits. I don't know if you've seen Kirby's house down there on in the Alps area of Georgia Westlake, of Athens Westlake Drive. I don't think there's any room for a helipad down there, though. There is room for a helipad at the Butts Mayer Building. They got a perfect place for it. In fact, out there on that that mezzanine, there might not be enough room. It'd have to be a pretty small helicopter. But of course, you could land it on the practice fields or on the track over there. That wouldn't be that bad of an idea. But as you see, Jeff Collins at Georgia Tech has been flying around in a helicopter a little bit. Nowadays in Metro Atlanta, you want to get around to see a lot of prospects, that's pretty much what you have to do. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting in a car all day long like the rest of us regular Joes have to. Hello, Tony Jackson. Welcome. I'm trying to think if there any other news I may be missing. I just flew in here to my office, meeting with somebody in town today. Got a lot of stuff in the works coming up for Dog Nation. It's a very exciting time. I'd love to hear from you guys. Yeah, thank you, Richard Thomas. Hunker down for Harrison tomorrow. Let me mention this. It was brought to my attention by a friend down in Thomasville about this young man by the name of Harrison, 8-year-old, killed tragically in a ATV accident this past Sunday, and he was laid to rest earlier this week, Tuesday, I believe it was. But anyway, his family has asked that the Bulldog Nation, in honoring that little kid, wear red and black on Friday, and I think that's a good idea. I mean, I wrote up a story and put it on Dog Nation. Go there and look. But the hashtag is Hunker Down for Harrison, and Harrison Hooks is his name. Bill Hooks is his father, who sent that out via social media, and I figured that's an easy thing for everybody to do, and I wanted to share that. So try to wear your red and black on Friday in honor of Harrison Hooks, and take a picture and send it out if you don't mind with the hashtag Hunker Down for Harrison. Little boy who loved the Bulldogs, could tell you who they were recruiting and everybody who played on both sides of the ball. Really neat thing, a really tragic, sad deal, and that's family is dealing with it well though, and you can read about him and learn more about it. Several questions about Zamir White and how is he, and guys, nobody really has an inside scoop on this. I mean, he's working daily to come back from his second knee injury. I would not expect a whole lot from him in spring practice. That's just based on my previous experience with ACL injuries. But I would imagine that he'll be cleared, if not completely, almost completely, for spring practice. Eddie Yarborough, I'm addressing it right now. How is Z White coming along? I think he's coming along well. And, Robert Hicks, a shout out to Aaron Murray and the Atlanta Legends. Cameron Noslick is going to be punting for them as well. I have a Towers take up now, if you hadn't had a chance to read it, just talking about as nice as the Super Bowl, Georgia's Super Bowl presence is, Georgia's overall presence in the NFL is something that Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs recruit to all the time. Who else is ready for the AAF? It's going to be interesting to see how that league does and how people turn out. And certainly, I know Georgia, Aaron Murray is beloved by Georgia fans, so I'm sure a lot of them will come out just to support him. Those knockoff football startups are tough to get going. I don't know about Josh. Michael Aker wants to know about Josh, and the kid. I don't want to pronounce his last name. I don't know what he may be planning to do, but I don't take anything off the table nowadays when it comes to transfers and stuff. So if you have another legitimate question, hit me up as soon as you can, because we're gonna go ahead and get out of here so Connor and BA can get off to some other stuff. Sam Hazeltine wants to know about the offensive coordinator. I think James Coley's going to do a good job. I think Georgia would probably throw the ball a little bit more under his watch. Now, any Kirby Smart offensive coordinator is going to be directed to run the football with physicality number one, and Georgia should be able to do that with that line and those backs. But I'm sure Jake Fromm and Georgia's receiving core is excited about throwing the ball. Do you know what a green shirt is? Learned yesterday. No, I have no idea, but I have one on. Any other questions? I think that's it. Let's let Connor go on. Starting next week, we'll have a little bit more of a regimented show set up for you. Should be back to our regular time of 12:30. Obviously, we'll be coming off. We'll be a day after National Signing Day, so there'll be a lot of fresh news to discuss. Right now, it's kind of all about the Super Bowl. Let me know on here how you plan on watching the Super Bowl. If you're hosting a party, if you're going to a party, let me know if you're going to the game. Is there anybody out there, a Georgia fan, who got tickets simply because Todd Gurley and Sony Michel were going to play in this game? I would love to see that. So let me know if you did. 14 early recruits that came in on green shirts. Okay. Green shirts. I got you. All right. Got you. Over and under on Fromm crankbait injuries during the offseason. I have a feeling they'll wrap him up in bubble wrap this summer. No hunting, no fishing, no wakeboarding. I think Jake may have the mildest summer he's ever had. Now, Kirby's talked about that before. He's kids be kids and do what they want. But I got to let Connor get out of here. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll be back a little bit earlier next week at 12:30. We'll have a little bit more of a regimented show ready to go for you. In the meantime, for Connor, for BA, for Mike Griffith, for Jeff Sentell, everybody at Dog Nation, we thank you for everything that you support us on. And we got lots more coming. Be sure to tune in to Dog Nation and get that Dog Nation app. See y'all.